Welcome back to Underrated Movies. I'm your guy. I'm your man, Mr. Alton Henry. Today, I'd like to talk to you about another underrated film that you have to check out. You need to check out, and I'm telling you, you need to check out for a specific reasons, especially if you're looking for a good, uniquely original thriller. This is Nocturnal Animals, written directed by Tom Ford. Tom Ford, the fashion designer. Um, Centers around a fashion designer who receives a book, and the book is written from her ex-husband. She reads it and she becomes somewhat enthralled into the story that is um, going on in her imagination. When we watch the trailer, it doesn't really sell you that. It sells you like some sort of thriller without really connecting the dots of how each scene is could be connected to the other. So it's kind of that. It's a story within the story, and it's about a character reading that story and feeling how this is going to be spoiler territory a little bit. Oh, my apologies. Also, it's been years since I watched this film, but suddenly I just remembered this movie, like the story, and I remember how good it was, and it just struck me. Uh, so I think for me to better sell you this movie, I'm gonna have to spoil a little bit about it. So the film, and if I remember correctly, starts off as Amy Adams's character, who is a very successful artist, fashion designer. I believe she's a fashion designer in the film, or I could be wrong. But she is filled with regret and unfulfilled. And the reason for uh towards their breakup, which I won't spoil, it's heartbreaking. Honestly, it's devastating to any guy who is wants to be a dad, and I can tell you, you already know what I'm thinking. So years later, I won't go red pill with this crap, but years later, she gets a book from her ex-husband, and she reads it, and then the story turns into, well, the story that she's envisioning from the novel turns into a crime story, a very darkly and bleak crime story of a family who gets um, ooh, what's the best way I can say this? It's about a family who encounters a group of just evil, deranged psychopaths that pull them over and kidnaps Jake Gyllenhaal's in character of the novel for his fallen wife and daughter. And the movie kind of goes on this revenge path. The movie is as a whole. I'm talking about the whole story from the novel of the story that Amy Adams is reading and the story of Amy Adams herself involving Jake Gyllenhaal and Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer plays her current ex-husband. I mean, not ex-husband, current husband in the movie, rich tycoon. You know, I know you want to go there. She becomes very regretful of her decision making of a love life per se. And I would tell you, this movie, and I'm gonna be honest, the movie doesn't necessarily connect the dots all the way from story to story. It's a story within the story where you just happen to be watching another story involved. So you pretty much, from the viewer, are Amy Adams's character, and you're experiencing this other story and just how bleak and sad it can get. And well, I don't know how sad it was for me, but it was interesting. and you kind of don't know where it goes. And I'm gonna tell you, Michael Shannon plays one of the most badass, just Texas Ranger characters, or just any character that I've seen. And there's a moment in the film towards the end where him and Jake Gyllenhaal uh, deals with the bad guys. I won't say how, but there's a line in there that he says in there. I just thought it was just hilarious, and I won't spoil it, but I'm telling you right now, this movie is great. It might get a little confusing, and you're kind of trying to figure out what's the point of the whole film. Themselves how they feel about you, metaphorically how they felt about you. You know, because there's a line in the trailers that when you love somebody, be careful with it because you might not ever get it again. True, but I think you yourself got to really figure out which one of the person that you really, really was in love with, or the person was good to you. Because I think the big thing about this film is karma. Where I think the best thing about revenge is doing nothing and trying to live the best life. I think that's how the film kind of ended in that way. I won't again spoil much of this film because this film, I'm just telling you, it's you don't know what to expect. I mean, this might turn people off. It might split audiences or about how this film just kind of comes together. But this is, I found it to be an original film, a very uniquely metaphorical film. And there's a crazy opening sequence. If you haven't heard of it, if you haven't seen it, if you haven't gone on YouTube to check it out, I'm going to tell you, you're going to be like, what? Hey, man, I guess that's art for you, but it's whatever. Hey, man, it's different. If you're looking for something different, I'm telling you right now, this is it. Nocturnal Animals. Have you seen it? Comment below. Let me know if you have, and let me know what is your favorite underrated movie.